A new way to catch crooks without putting innocent people at risk.
Futuristic? Goodbye high-speed chase. Hello GPS darts.
A air-powered launcher that shoots out GPS projectiles that stick to the back of the car.
Police Chief Stu Cameron says the Star Chase GPS fires a dart too slowly to hurt bystanders, but coated with a powerful adhesive, allowing police to track a fleeing vehicle. The police budget paid $36,000 to equip all 6 patrol cars.
If the car tries to drive away, you just press the remote and you tag it, and now you're tracking the car.
And new in the arsenal, deflation devices.
We pull them across the road, your choice is either run over them and flatten all the tires on your car or stop. I don't think it'll be long before we're tagging cars and flattening tires with these 2 devices.
Oh, you're trying to leave your 15-minute slave cities, Ouija? Well, too bad. We're gonna track, trace, database, and tag your ass. Good luck getting out now. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Zukardowski here of WeAreChange.org, and we have a huge, overwhelming amount of crazy videos to get into today, as of course there are so many crazy things happening in our society that I'm, even at a loss for words for some of the insanity, as we're going to be talking about some of the larger, bigger issues happening here domestically with the federal police, as well as focusing on some very important international relations, major trade news, lots of saber rattling, lots of crazy stuff happening internationally. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was, of course, shared by a local news channel, CBS New York, highlighting the latest and greatest police technology from a local small police department that gets way too much tax dollars, that probably won't use this technology ever, as others are making the argument that it's better to have than not to have, as of course a passive solution is a lot better than one that escalates the situation. But hey, is this a technocratic overreach or technology solving some of our problems? What do you think? As I think it's fair to say that here in the United States, the use of this by authorities could be done in many different troubling ways. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but hey, not all things are horrible and bad, as of course the little victories here absolutely matter, as Twitter has now just officially labeled NPR, BBC News, The Voice of America, and PBS as, quote, government-funded media organizations, which they absolutely are. A sight that is very beautiful to behold, as many of these, quote, news organizations are participating or threatening a boycott of Twitter because they were correctly labeled as state-funded media organizations, which they are. Organizations that have a horrible track record of being accountable, transparent, fair, or balanced towards one particular side, as of course, these state-run media organizations usually regurgitate government or establishment talking points to the general public. Another interesting to see in our culture is the major pushback that's happening right now against Bud Light, with many people saying that they're boycotting the beer and that they will never drink it again. All of this as there's a new video from their new marketing VP that came out and talked about how Bud Light was a dying brand that needs to reach out to younger people in order to be a successful business. Essentially, in my opinion, arguing that there should be manipulative propaganda techniques so young people drink alcohol, which is absolutely horrible for them. And in my opinion, the conversation here should be a little bit more nuanced, not about what beer company you should switch to, but specifically, maybe we should have a debate and conversation about beer and alcohol itself, as some are arguing that the effects of beer could turn you into the spokesperson of beer, particularly Bud Light. Yes, that's an actual real conversation. We're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. And in related news of powerful authorities forcing and manipulating young people to do stuff that they don't want to do that is really harmful for them, we have the latest news about the Federal Bureau of Investigations and the DOJ that just admitted that the majority of Proud Boys on January 6th were on the FBI payroll. And out of, quote, 13 Proud Boys, 8 or more of them were, quote, FBI paid informants, while 5 of the other ones are being prosecuted here. This as today, the FBI has also announced that they are expanding their definition and scope of understanding of what is extremism, and now has labeled people who use the internet slang of based and red-pilled as, quote, extremists. Yes, you heard that correctly. The FBI is focusing their resources on studying people and calling them out as extremists for saying words like based, Chad, and red-pilled. This is your tax dollars hard at work here. Oh yeah, also, involuntary celibate is also one of the terms linked here, as new docs were just obtained by an oversight project that equates this speech to violence, because, you know, what better way to spend government resources and tax dollars than investigating people using language that some people don't like, when, of course, there's absolutely no real horrible monsters out there, and a client list of monsters that hasn't been there's a lot of really horrible monsters out there that have hurt people, specifically children, in unspeakable ways, all as organizations like the FBI for over 30 years were ignoring witnesses and victims that were coming forward to them. In the 90s, there was women coming to the FBI talking about this one particular man, Mr. Epstein, who of course was very close friends with Bill Clinton, was visiting him inside of the White House many times, had a huge sum of money that no one knew where it exactly came from, as the banks were violating procedure, protocol, and any kind of oversight, allowing him to essentially run an international extortion and trafficking operation. And still, the many people connected to this crime and the many clients that used his services for small children are still not held accountable for their horrible crimes that they have committed. But hey, if you used the term red pill or based online, well, the FBI's got your number, which shows you where their priorities are. Now again, I am generalizing here and nitpicking, but the facts are the facts, and there have been a lot of photos and videos of horrible things that Mr. Epstein kept as private records that of course the FBI has their hands on. The FBI's and DOJ's investigation into what happened to Epstein and what he was doing has gone dark. It has never been released to the general public. It has never been concluded. And today, Radar Online is also reporting that Mr. Epstein's estate just uncovered, quote, a treasure trove of very crazy photos and videos that are graphic, saying specifically that this might lead into an FBI probe, or let's just be honest here, a possible FBI cover up here. As of course, the video footage and photographs that the FBI captured in New York City from his safe are still never addressed and never really dealt with. Something, of course, that a lot of people should be concerned about, as of course, it's also being reported by the Daily Caller that hundreds of former feds are now flocking to jobs at big tech that, of course, routinely hires a lot of federal authorities. All of this as the Biden administration just announced their digital strategy for the 2024 presidential election with a, quote, army of influencers. Very interesting to see these two news articles coincide. It's probably not a coincidence at all, as of course the FBI, big tech, social media, and the Biden administration have been colluding together for, of course, their own personal benefit and empowerment. All of this as the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper and becomes a lot more sinister, but we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more later on today on LukeUnfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple. I'm still figuring out the details of a meetup here in Austin, Texas. It is difficult. There are some security concerns. I'm going to try to figure all of that out later on today and then let you guys know what's really going on and what we're going to be doing. As of course, we have multiple ways that you guys could sign up and be a part of this independent media organization. One of the easiest and quickest one is just 50 cents a day, and you get access to a huge plethora of really amazing and awesome things as we are trying to really figure out some really cool things for the people here, as I am in Austin, Texas right now, working out a way to, of course, be a part of some really cool projects here. I'm also going to be speaking at an event Friday and Saturday. One of them is the Minds Festival. Hope to see some of you guys there. Another one is, of course, the Timcast IRL broadcast and podcast, which is going to be really a crazy show to be a part of. I would tune into that show this week because there's definitely going to be some surprises there, to say the least. Really fun things, lots of exciting things coming your way. To know about it first, to get access to it first, sign up on LukeUnfiltered.com, and I will see you there right after this broadcast, as we will have a special report ready for everyone about some of the more crazier situations that we cannot get into here on this particular broadcast. That video, plus a lot more, many reports, many offers of value, all available to you on lukeunfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? And I will see you there right after this broadcast. Now, one of the main focuses of this video that I really wanted to spend a lot of time on is specifically what is happening with China, as I think it's fair to say that they are definitely expanding their reach economically, as countries that have been trading with China has been growing very fast. And when it comes to global trade, specifically even trade routes and the use of currencies, we have to understand that many historical wars predominantly originate from trade wars, trade conflicts. And I think it's fair to say, as we've been hinting to you for many years now, that there is an international chaotic situation unfolding right now between the yuan and the US petrodollar, as the volume of Russian-Chinese trade in yuan has gone up dramatically, and China has been ever so working closely with countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, which they've been even able to broker some kind of preliminary peace deal with, which is absolutely historic, which is absolutely crazy to think of, since of course the sectarian violence in the Middle East between the Sunnis and Shiites to be somehow diplomatically achieved in a truce, let's be honest here, is not a small feat. This, as Saudi Arabia is calling for the end of the proxy war that has been happening between Iran and Saudi Arabia in Yemen, and seeing these two countries say, hey, we're not going to be attacking each other, we're not going to be fighting each other, is a key strategy that of course has been used by the United States and Israel as their key way of centralizing power in the region. And as this happens, the United States just announced that they're sending out guided missile submarines to the waters outside of Iran, as the CIA director says that he was even blindsided by Saudi Arabia coming together with Iran, which is a very big deal, as these are major oil-producing countries that have also just a couple days ago announced that they're going to be shortening the production of oil. This, as global instability is made worse, especially with the current situation in Taiwan, where the government there is warning that any kind of misstep or mishap could lead to an uncontrollable world war. And the fears are granted there, as the Chinese military has announced that they're, quote, ready to fight after doing military drills near Taiwan, and the Speaker of the House is expected to visit that country. Now, one of the most interesting turnarounds here, especially when it comes to a lot of the developments and findings here, is to see what France is doing here, as of course the former Rothschild banker and current French President Emmanuel Macron just rejected what he calls the American rhythm on Taiwan. This after having a very big meeting with the Chinese government. And that's not the only eye-opening statement from this Western world leader, as Macron also said that Europe must resist pressure to become America's followers, and has told Europe to reduce its dependence on the United States, all specifically after this massive trip between France and China. Now, what's really going on here? What was told to Emmanuel Macron to make him to turn his back against the rest of the West here? What's really going on here? Well, what do you think is going on here? Let me know down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively watching and sharing these videos, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. One more video coming your way on lukeuncensored.com. See you there.